Hello guys, this is Gamer06 for another exciting book review, or I should say a book series. Now, I got this, I think last year for Christmas. I don't think I showed it. I think I forgot to show it to you. I think it was on my bookshelf and I forgot to get it out, but I finally read it. I finally went through all the volumes. Uh, reading it took me this long to get through them all because of my busy schedule, so I would try to read a volume in between my busy schedule, because I've been recording, other stuff on my YouTube channel and of course my job. So I finally finished the last volume just a few days ago. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to make a video, give you my thoughts on it, and I have the box set right here, so let me go ahead and get it. This is the back of it. Here is the side. Yes, this is Five Nights at Freddy's Fazbear Frights. There are 12 volumes. Here they are. Don't worry, I do have volume 12. I could not put this back in the box. And I will get to that in a moment. Here's the other side. That is Felix the Shark, by the way. Scott Cawthon, the creator. And then you have other writers that did these short stories. You have Ellie Cooper, Kelly Para, Carly Ann West, and Andrea Wagner. So here's the bottom. Y'all should recognize this from Into the Pit. Okay, that's volume 1. Of course, they made a video game of it. And I think you at the top right here got spooky eyes, very cool. So it's 12 books, volume 1 through 11, and an exclusive book of rejected stories. So I'm going to read the back. It says all 11 Fazbear Fright books are together for the first time in this amazing set, plus a 12th book of bonus stories that didn't make the cut for the first 11 books. Five Nights at Freddy's creator Scott Cawthon spends 3 sinister novella-length stories in each book of this collection from different corners of his series canon. Readers beware. This collection of terrifying tales is enough to unsettle even the most hardened Five Nights at Freddy's fans. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all these books out. So just give me a second, guys. Alright, guys, to all about out of the box. Here's what it looks like empty. So yeah, so let's go through each of the volume. Now, of course, I'm going to keep this spoiler free in case you guys haven't read these books yet. So we'll start with volume 1, Into the Pit. A lot of people should be familiar with this. Like I said, they made a video game based on this. I still haven't beaten it. I did play some more of it whenever I did a video on that, but I haven't got back into it, but I want to though. So here's the back. Okay. Sorry, I hear something in my room. My cats are doing something. So it says Five Nights at Freddy's. Fans won't want to miss this Pulse Pounding collection of 3 novella-length tales that will keep even the bravest player up at night. What do you wish for most? It's a question that Oswald, Sarah, and Millie think they know the answer to. Oswald wishes his summer wasn't so boring. Sarah wishes to be beautiful, and Millie wishes she could just disappear from the face of the earth. But in the twisted world of Five Nights at Freddy's, their heart's deepest desires have an unexpected cost. In this volume, Five Nights at Freddy's creator Scott Cawthon spends 3 such a novella-length stories from different corners of the series canon. Each book comes complete with cover artwork from fan favorite game artist Lady Vizzy, who brings the horror to life in startling new ways. Readers beware, this collection of terrifying tales is enough to unsettle even the most hardened Five Nights at Freddy's fans. There's more Five Nights at Freddy's to explore, and it shows you like the book, the silver eyes and all that good stuff. So yeah, and this came out 2020, and each of the volumes is it's 3 stories. Okay, you get 3 short stories, and at the end of each volume, you get an extra story, and it's always in black pages, the epilogue, and it explores Detective Larson going after the Stitch Wraith. It's very interesting because it connects to all the other epilogues in the volume. So you read the beginning part, and then we get to volume 2. We get to the end of that volume. It continues where this one left off. As for the 3 short stories, I think certain stories connect, but some of them it's like its own story. There's been debates among fans whether these stories connect to the video games. I don't think they are, unless that's the novels I'm thinking of, which is the Silver Eyes, the Twisted One, and the Fourth Closet. Maybe that's the one that's in a separate timeline. These I'm not for sure about. So you can turn the pages and have the table of contents. You got Into the Pit, To Be Beautiful, and Count the Ways. So yeah, the third story I think Count the Ways does connect to the epilogue later on. Again, I'm gonna try to keep it spoiler free. So yeah, great stuff. If you like, it's the best way to describe these books. It's Five Nights at Freddy's meets Goosebumps. If you're like me, if you grew up in the 90s, you have at least read a Goosebumps book if you grew up in the 90s. Goosebumps was very popular back then. I remember they had a TV show back in the 90s, years ago. So, yeah, I think you can watch that on Disney Plus, I think. I think they got every season. I don't know how many seasons it ran. But anyway, that's kind of what these books remind me of. It takes me back to the Goosebumps era, so it's very cool. So, anyway, that's volume 1. Let's move on to volume 2. Alright, here's volume 2 called Fetch. This is Fetch, the animatronic dog. Very spooky. I do remember this one. Very creepy. It says, after years of being kicked around, Greg, Alec, and Oscar are ready to take control of their lives. Greg decides to put the controversial science he's been studying to the test. Alec launches a master plot to expose his golden sister for the spoiled brat he knows she is. And Oscar, even the miniature grown-up his mom needs him to be, decides to take something he wants, even though he knows it's wrong. But as these 3 will learn, control is a fragile thing in the sinister world of Five Nights at Freddy's. So, yeah, and then this is the same thing from the volume 1. So let's look at what the story it has. And this came out also in 2020. Let's see. Yeah, 2020 copyright. Okay, table of contents. You have Fetch, Lonely Freddy, and Out of Stock. Again, it's 3 stories with the epilogue about Detective Larson going after the Stitch Wraith. It's a very good read, if you like detective stuff. Okay, let's move on to volume 3. Right, here it is. And this is called 1:35 a.m. Very creepy cover. Reminds me of, what's her name? Circus Baby from the sister location. There's your spine and the back. It says, for Delilah, Stanley, and Devin, being left behind is practically a way of life. Orphaned from a young age and recently divorced, Delilah escapes deeper into her dreams each night, in desperate need of a wake-up call. Stanley is newly dumped, stuck in a dead-end job for a mysterious employer, and unable to connect with anyone. And Devin, abandoned by his dad and ignored by his mom, can't understand why love and friendship come so easily to everyone except him. Unfortunately, in the chaos world of Five Nights at Freddy's, it's always in the depths of loneliness when evil creeps in. So, this came out 2020 as well. I'm not for sure, but I feel like these books came out monthly. I'm not for sure on that. Or maybe it's every 2 or 3 months. So, table of contents. You got, of course, 1:35 a.m., Room for One More, and The New Kid. The New Kid, I believe, had a dark twist. I can't remember now. Some of these stories, I'm going to have to warn you, is dark. Like, I cannot believe this is for kids, or, it's for like young teenagers. I'm almost 40 and I still enjoy these books. But yeah, some of these stories are dark, so I kind of warn you guys. So, and of course, maybe I should point this out. The title of these volumes is usually the name of the first story of these books. So, there you have it, Volume 3. Let's move on to Volume 4. Okay, here's Volume 4, Step Closer. I love this cover. If you're a Foxy fan, you're going to love this one. Very cool. Here's the spine. And here's the back. It says, isolation can open up a void. Pete lashes out at his younger brother in the wake of his parents' divorce, falling prey to a gruesome curse. Casey struggles with the lengths she'll go to survive on the streets after stealing a pair of unusual novelty glasses. I remember that one. That was a good story, too. Samantha and her sister Susie struggle to exist side by side, desperate to connect after a horrific tragedy. But in the grand world of Five Nights at Freddy's, empty feelings often attract hungry monsters. So, okay, and your short story is Step Closer, Dance With Me. That's a good one. That's a creepy one. And Coming Home. Okay? That's Volume 4. Now on to Volume 5. Here we are, Volume 5, Bunny Call. This, I think it was this one that really had the dark stories. Like, seriously, I remember reading this for the first time and thinking to myself, how can they publish this for kids? But, yeah, again, I'm not going to spoil it. You're going to have to read it to find out what I'm talking about. So, creepy cover. And here's the back. It says, when left in darkness, rage festers. Years of frustration with his family culminate in a loathsome vacation for Bob, who plots a sinister prank to frighten his wife and kids. Matt redirects the residual anger over his many failed relationships into a video game, and ends up birthing the horrible consequences. In room 1280 of Heracle's hospital, something evil is keeping a man alive. A man with gruesome burns all over his body and an iron will to live. I remember that one very well. That one was creepy as well. So yeah, there you have it. And this came out 2020. Maybe they all came out in 2020. I don't know. So your table of contents. Okay, you got Bunny Call and The Flesh and The Man in Room 1280. So very cool. There you have it. Volume 5. Now let's move on to Volume 6. Here we are, Volume 6, Blackbird. Okay. It says, haunted by the past, to avoid comforting an ugly truth, Noel falls prey to a monster that punishes past transgressions. Growing weaker by the day, 9-year-old Jake looks back on the time before he was sick, imagining life as if he were well again. And, forever desperate to prove his worth to his arrogant brother and distant father, Toby chases victory at an arcade game with horrifying consequences. But in the unpredictable world of Five Nights at Freddy's, sometimes the past can take on a life of its own. Yeah, I remember that one about Jake being, the sick kid. Very sad, very good. Jake connects to the epilogue story, okay, about Detective, Larson. Again, I'm not going any further than that. I don't want to spoil it, but that story connects to the epilogue stories. So, yeah, let's see what this came out 2021. So let's look at the table of contents. Does it not have it? Oh, there it is. Okay, I skipped it by accident. So you got Blackbird, The Real Jake, and Hide and Seek. So, yeah. Another good one. Emotional, sad, but good. So, that's Volume 6. Alright. Here is Volume 7, The Cliffs. You got a picture of what looks like a torn teddy bear. And the back. It says, some things must be learned the hard way. Reed sees an opportunity to teach the school bully not to mess with him, but ends up mangling the lesson. Robert, an exhausted single father, gets a crash course in parenting when he buys a fancy new teddy bear to watch and entertain his young son. Chris, eager to join the science club at school, agrees to undergo a grisly experiment to be accepted. But in the malevolent universe of Five Nights at Freddy's, there's always an education in pain. I forgot about that story. You're going to love that one. That story really reminds me of something that R.L. Stine would write in his Goosebumps series. So, yeah. Let's see what the name of the stories are. Oh, and this came out 2021. You got The Cliffs, The Breaking Wheel, and He Told Me Everything. That one was a little bit creepy. I got goosebumps just remember it now. So, yeah, the third story. If you like Goosebumps, you're going to love the third story in this volume. So, there you have it. Volume 7. Now let's move on to Volume 8. Alright, here's Volume 8. Gumdrop Angel. Very disturbing picture there. The side, you get your spine. And here is the back. And let's go ahead and read it. It says, a string of bad luck you can't seem to shake. For Angel, Hudson, and Sergio, I think I'm saying that name right. If I'm not, I apologize. It's an all too familiar feeling. Repulsed by her spoiled stepsister's lavish birthday party, Angel exacts a hasty and ill-fated revenge. Hudson's young life is littered with tragedy and broken dreams, but a well-paying security job might just be all he needs to turn things around. Sergio acquires a unique novelty toy that instantly brings good luck. But is the toy really leading him to happiness or to a more monstrous end? And this also came out in 2021. And then you have Gumdrop Angel, Sergio's Lucky Day, and What We Found. So, Volume 8. Let's check out Volume 9. Here's Volume 9, The Puppet Carver, Creepy Picture. I mean, again, these books remind me a lot like Goosebumps. Okay, if you have the same childhood like as I did in the 90s, you're going to love these series. So, here's the back. And this also came out in 2021. It says, consumed by failure, desperate to keep his kitty pizzeria from bankruptcy, Jack lets his animatronics tech pitch him a new invention that might just get him some perspective. Frustrated by an unfair arcade game, Colton throws himself into a re-engineering the device at any cost. Marley's best friend goes missing on a tour of the Freddy's Pizza Factory. She knows what really happened, but her guilt isn't the only thing threatening to eat her alive. I remember that story, but I don't remember how it ended exactly. So, there you have it. Let's check out the contents. It says, The Puppet Carver, Jump for Tickets, I remember that one, and Pizza Kit. So, okay. There you have it. Volume 9. Now let's check out Volume 10. Alright. Here's Volume 10, Friendly Face. Very creepy picture. Yes, my cat just jumped up there. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But speaking of cat, you can see it's a cat with a human face. Very weird. Here's the back, or the, I'm sorry, the spine. And the back. And this came out 2021. It says, act in haste, repent at leisure. After losing his friend in a terrible accident, Edward can't spend his money fast enough on a happy companion guaranteed to keep his friend's memory alive. This story is a little messed up. Mott quickly flushes his brother's creepy new pets, but the creatures have other plans. Eager to put her classmates in their place, homecoming queen Jessica doesn't stop to double-check her homework, reprogramming a defunct animatronic. Yeah, I did remember this story as well. The third story, the way it ends, is dark. Again, I'm not going to spoil it. So, let's read the table of contents. It says Friendly Face, Sea Bonnies. That one was a good one. And then Together Forever. So, there you have it. That's Volume 10. Now, Volume 11. And this is technically the final volume, sort of. I will explain it when I get there as to why that Volume 11 is not. I mean, it is a final volume, but not really. But I'll get to that in a moment. So anyway, this is Volume 10. Alright, here is Volume 11, Prankster. I like the cover. You got this guy in the hall with a flashlight. You got these creepy animatronics in these doorways reaching out for him. Here's the spine. Here's the back. And this came out 2021. It says, standing up for yourself can be hard. Jeremiah decides he's done being the butt of his co-workers' jokes at their small game studio. I actually remember that one. The first story reminds me of, in a way, the Saw movies. Yes. So, yeah, it's this was another dark one for me, but it's good. You know, you'll like it. Joel is counting the days until he can quit his family's garden center and hit the road to a new life. Another good one too. Amy finally works up the courage to ditch her loudmouth, annoying friend at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. But when it comes to finding at Freddy's, even the most well-meaning actions can reap horrible consequences. So let's check out the table of contents. You have Prankster, Kids That Play, and Find Player 2. Vampire 2 kind of has a sad ending a little bit, you know, but it's good though. It's good. It's like more like a mystery, you know. So it's good. So yeah, this right here concludes Detective Larson's story. Okay, in the epilogue, you kind of see it where it's like black pages right there. Okay. Uh, you know, I was telling about the epilogue, how it all connects to the other volume. This is the epilogue of that story. Okay, it concludes it. It's, you know, it's the end of it. So yeah, so if you were to collect these individually and not the box set, this will be the final volume. However, when the box set came out, they released another volume, volume 12, called Felix the Shark. Now, you can only get this in the box set. You cannot find this individually by itself unless someone is selling on eBay. For how much, I don't know. I haven't checked. So, yeah, if you've been collecting these as they were coming out, okay, you know, by itself, you would miss out on this one. This right here is the stories that didn't make the cut, like scraps, well, they put together to make volume 12. I have to say, this is really good. Okay, like I said, I just finished this one, okay, just a few days ago. It's really good. I love the Felix the Shark story. All these stories were good in this. I liked it. It feels more like Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, the other ones did too, but this feels closer, in my opinion. And of course, there is no epilogue. You can see just by looking at it, you don't see any dark pages in the end. Because look, see, and that's it. There's no epilogue story. It's just once you're done with the third and final story, that's it. You're done. Because see, it's just blanks. It's nothing. So yeah, so it ends on page 211. Okay, so and this came out, I don't have the year, 2021. So let's read the back. A dark bridge to the past. Dirk sets out on a long shot quest to recapture a cherished childhood memory from a unique animatronic pizzeria. Mandy finds something lurking in the files of her favorite horror game and opens herself up to a haunting. That one had a beautiful ending, very emotional. In light of her son's fascination with Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Sylvia buys her son a unique birthday present, a Freddy Fazbear mask. That's the Genius article, in more ways than one. Yeah, this one feels more like like the other games. Yeah, the third story is a pretty good one too. In this 12th volume, Find at Freddy's, Career Scott Cawthon spends 3 bonus novella-length stories from a different corner of the series canon. Yeah, it's the same thing. I thought it was something different, but it doesn't. So let's read the table of contents. Your first story, of course, Felix the Shark. The Scoop. Again, that's got an emotional, good ending. And then you have You're the Band, another good one. So yeah, these are really good stories. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, this is a mistake, where it says The Scoop by Scott Cawthon. He did not write the story. It was somebody else. It was, I don't know if it was Andrea Wagner or Ellie Cooper. I think it was Anne. I can't remember her last name now. Anne, I think it's her name. I think she wrote that story. So they made mistakes. Scott did not write The Scoop. It was somebody else. Again, I think her name was Anne, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, again, you can only get this if you buy the box set. So my only complaint really with this box set is it's hard to squeeze the books back in without damaging it. So I wish the box was a little bit bigger so you can put it back in there easily. So just give me a second, guys. Alright, here's a box set. Again, I can't squeeze Volume 12 in this. It's hard without damaging the book. It's a tight squeeze. That's my only complaint about this box set because of that reason. So, I hate to throw the box away, but I don't know. So what I might end up doing is just lay this on top of it. I don't know. But if you're a fan of the games, you need to check out this series. I think you'll like it. Again, I recommend the box set. Okay? And because of this. Because if you buy it by itself, you're going to miss out on this. So, but again, maybe people are selling it by itself on eBay. Maybe Amazon. I don't know. But I'll put a link in the description box of this box set in case you want to pick it up. This would make a good Christmas present, okay? Because the holidays is just around the corner, they're coming up. People are kind of starting their Christmas shopping. So this would make a great gift, okay, for your kids. I mean, or for yourself, whoever, maybe your spouse. Doesn't matter. This would make a great gift. And of course, just like the novel, they did it with the novels. They made the graphic novel version, the comic book version, and I do have the comic book version of the novels, like the Silver Eyes, Twisted Ones, the Fourth Closet, and it's good to see the pictures and all that. I read the actual books first, and then I went back and bought the comic book version, and it was alright. They left out a lot of parts. That's the thing. I recommend just reading the books because you get more details. The graphic novels, they leave a lot of parts out. And yes, I don't know if it's already done or they're still doing it. They may be already done with it, but they did make the graphic novels based on these short stories. But, like I said, I didn't like how they did it on the book version because a lot of parts were left out. I might pick them up. I don't know. If I do, I'll do a review on it. So, yeah, I don't know, But if you never read any of the books or the Fazbear Frights, I recommend reading the book because you get more lore. You know what I mean? You get more lore. You get more details. The graphic novel, I feel like they don't do it justice. That's just my opinion on that. But I might pick it up. I don't know. There is another book series I have not read yet. I don't have it yet. But I do want to get it. And that is, I think it's called Tales from Pizzaplex. For those who don't know what the Pizzaplex is, that's that giant pizzeria that was seen in FNAF Security Breach. One of my favorite games because in that one, you actually get to go around and explore. You're not just in the office, looking, closing doors, flashing lights, Don't get me wrong, the old games are fun, okay? They are fun still, but I'd rather just move. I'd rather explore. I'd rather go down the hallways and, see if the coast is clear, finding secrets. That's why I love Security Breach. Yes, it was a buggy mess when it came out. It still kind of is, I think. And of course, there's Secret of the Mimic, which plays the same, I think, as Security Breach. I've not played that yet. To my knowledge, that's on PS5 and PC. Don't think it's on Xbox. At the time of this recording, that game is not on the Switch yet. Hopefully it will be. I know it's either on the 30th or 31st, Halloween, they are releasing a physical copy Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic for the PS5. So I might pick that up because I do love Security Breach. I even put the DLC Ruin. So, but anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting off topic here, but yeah, Tale of the Pizzaplex. I'm going to assume it's based on Security Breach, so I do want to get my hands on that. And yes, they are, or I don't know if it's already done or they're still doing it, but they do have the comic book version of those stories as well. So you're looking at a lot of books. So, but anyway, I hope you liked today's video. I had a good time reading this. Sorry that this was late. Again, I've had this box set since last year, but with my busy schedule, I had to take my time. So I try to read each volume in between my busy time. So, but I finally finished it, and I thought I'm gonna give my thoughts on it. I love it. It's good. Again, it's got some dark stories in there, twisted. It's like, I don't know. I mean, is this the right age for kids to read these stuff? Yeah. So, but it's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. If you like short, scary stories, if you like Goosebumps, you're a huge fan of Frights at Freddy's, you have to pick this box set up. I think you'll enjoy it because, like I said, with the box set, you get an extra volume. So, yeah. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Leave a like if you haven't already. And please share this channel with all your friends and family. I would appreciate it. It would mean a lot to me. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good week. I cannot believe Halloween is coming up in a few days. So, before you know it, it'll be November and then December. So, yeah. Again, this will make a great gift for your loved ones or maybe a friend, So, but I don't know how much it is right now on Amazon. I'll find a link and put it in the description box so that you guys can pick it up. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.